All right, today we're on page 47, and our title is Solving Two-Step Inequalities. So go ahead and write your title on the next page of your notes, and we'll go ahead and get started with some rules. So this is nothing new. Now you're just putting together everything you've learned. So the key is you're going to use the same rules as solving two-step equations, but the key is to remember if you multiply or divide by a negative, flip the sign, just like we saw and we learned yesterday. So here's our first example. Let's solve 5x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 11. Okay, this looks just like a two-step equation if this was an equal sign, right? So let's treat it like that. Let's use our opposite operations. So the first thing I have to do, you can split it if you want, right? Let's find x. The furthest away from x on this side is this minus 4, so I need to do the opposite, which is plus 4 on both sides. That's 0. Bring down the 5x. 11 plus 4 is 15. So now I have 5x. And then I'm going to bring down my sign. I didn't multiply or divide, so I don't have to think about flipping the sign yet, so bring down the sign exactly how you see it. Do not write an equal sign here. That's the biggest mistake I see, is people then changing this to an equal sign. It is not equal. It's greater than or equal to, which is different, okay? So then my next step, I look at this problem and I say, okay, 5x, I know anything next to a number means multiplication. The opposite of that is division. So I need to divide by 5 on both sides. 5 divided by 5 is 1. I'm left with just x. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And then I think, okay, well, what did I divide by? That was a positive 5. Since it's positive, all I do is bring down the inequality sign exactly as I see it. And that is my final answer. So let's graph it. Graph the 3 and a couple numbers around it. It is or equal to, so it includes that point. So I draw a closed dot because it includes it. And then my solutions, x is greater than or equal to -3. So I'm looking for something that's greater than, which is this way, to the right. And there's your solution. Again, same rules as solving two-step equations, just don't write an equal sign in them. Think about where your sign has to be facing. Let's do another one. b divided by -3 plus 4 is greater than 13. All right, same thing, let's split it so we can solve it. First thing I'll look at, find b. Furthest thing away from b on this side is this plus 4. That is addition. The opposite is subtraction. So I want to subtract 4 from both sides. Okay, 4 minus 4 is 0. Bring down the b divided by -3. 13 minus 4 is 9. And then I didn't multiply or divide, I just subtracted, so I can bring down the sign exactly as I see it. Again, don't change that to an equal sign. That's an inequality sign. And then I need to do my next step. I look and I say that's division, the opposite is multiplication, so I need to multiply by -3. This one becomes -3 over 1. -3 over 1 times 1 over -3 is 1. That's why we do it, because it goes away. I get b. 9 times -3 is -27. And then I think about my sign. So here's what I multiplied by on both sides. It is a negative number. So what happens when I multiply by a negative number? I flip the inequality sign. So instead of being a greater than sign, this switches directions and becomes less than. All right, so that's my final answer. B is less than -27. Let's graph it. negative 27, draw a couple numbers around it. It is not including negative 27, so I want to draw an open dot, negative 27, and then my solutions are smaller than negative 27, so I'm looking for anything less than. Well, less than is to the left, so that's where my solutions go. All right, let's do one more example. A little bit of an extension, but I think you can handle it. What if I have negative 7 times x plus 3 is less than or equal to 28? All right, so again, treat this like you would solving an equation, just don't write an equal sign. So let's start. Anytime I have something by parentheses, I know that means I need to distribute. So I do negative 7 times x, which is negative 7x. I do negative 7 times 3, which is negative 21. And then I have the 28 that I just bring down. I haven't really done anything to both sides, so my inequality stays the same direction. Now I have a two-step, right? So I can do step 1, which is finding x. Furthest thing on this side from x is this minus 21. That is subtraction. The opposite is addition. So I need to add 21 to both sides. Negative 21 plus 21 is 0. I bring down the negative 7x. 28 plus 21 is 49. And all I've done is added here, right? So my inequality sign can just stay the same way. I don't have to switch it yet because I haven't multiplied or divided by a negative. And then my last step, I have x. Negative 7 is right next to the x, so that means multiplication. The opposite is division. So I need to divide both sides by negative 7. Negative 7 divided by negative 7 is 1. I have x. 49 divided by negative 7 is negative 7. And then I need to think about which way my sign goes. Well, let's look at what I divided by. I divided by negative 7, which is a negative, so that means I have to flip my sign. So instead of being a less than or equal to, it just switches directions, becomes greater than or equal to. So your final answer here is x is greater than or equal to negative 7. And then we can just graph our solution. Draw negative 7, a couple numbers around it. It is greater than or equal to, so it does include negative 7. So to include it, I draw a closed dot because it includes that point. And then I look at x is greater than, it's everything bigger than negative 7. So I want to go everything bigger than negative 7 is to the right. And that's how we solve two-step inequalities.